got to talk about the school. So administrators at Rebecca's former school, this is Empower College Prep, they revealed to 12 News that the school had called the child abuse hotline 12 times, claimed that a school resource officer observed injuries during a home visit when Rebecca was absent from school for a long period of time. You have Natalina Mariscal, the Empower's director of student services, who said that Rebecca and her brothers had these bruises, black eye, complained of being hungry. She told 12 News the fact that there were clear marks on these students and statements of feeling unsafe, and again, what feels like nothing was done or minimal intervention was done, it's just a difficult pill to swallow. Now, DCS has only acknowledged 5 school-initiated contacts, with only one of those reports meeting the correct criteria to open an investigation. The department released a statement after Rebecca's death saying it is with a heavy heart that we acknowledge the death of Rebecca Baptiste, a child who was known to the department. Anytime a child in our community is harmed, it deeply affects us all, especially when we know the family. Our dedicated staff work tirelessly to ensure the safety of all children, but tragically, those who intend to harm children can sometimes evade even the most robust systems designed to protect them. In response to this incident, the department is actively collaborating with law enforcement in a joint investigation to ensure that the people responsible for this heinous act are brought to justice. Now, it goes on to say the department would like to correct some information made public by other sources related to the death of Rebecca Baptiste. According to department records, Empower School called the hotline 5 times in the past year, and one time the allegations met statutory report criteria. The other 4 times, the department was not able to investigate the allegations because they did not meet the statutory threshold for abuse or neglect. We do not have any records that a relative called the hotline after 2019 to allege abuse or neglect of Rebecca or her siblings. Now, Professor, that was part of the statement. Seems like there's, I don't know, in my opinion, finger pointing going on here. I guess the 2 questions I have are, A, what do you make of that statement and the idea of when they can actively get involved? And B, what does it mean that they cooperate with law enforcement in an investigation? What does that look like?
So you're absolutely right when you say, a lot of finger pointing, and I might use the expression, passing the buck. So it sounds a lot like the school is saying, we are mandatory reporters. We did what we needed to do when we made the observations that we made, when we had the concerns or the suspicions that we had. We passed it on to DCS. And DCS, again, is saying we couldn't do what the public or what the school wanted us to do because of the statutory limitations that have been placed on us and on our operations by the legislature, by the Arizona state legislature. And so there, again, is this cycle of saying, well, we couldn't act, we couldn't endeavor, we couldn't advocate, we couldn't do the thing that would have or could have saved Rebecca's life. And so, it sounds like at every level, the investigators, the people, the systems that were in place and were involved in investigating Rebecca's situation, are essentially saying, we checked the boxes that we needed to check. We fulfilled our obligations, met our threshold, really didn't go above and beyond because we couldn't statutorily, because our hands are metaphorically bound by the language that's out there in either, again, the state legislature or in our operating function.
Now, the state has reportedly launched an investigation into the Department of Child Safety. There are plans to continue the investigation in the new legislative session. It's not just because of the Baptiste case. There appears to be maybe apparent systemic problems. You have State Representative Walter Blackman, State Representative Lisa Fink told ABC 15 that DCS already knows there are issues with its child abuse hotline, that there's long wait times, there are missed calls, but the legislature wants to get administrators on the record under oath to explain what's being done to address all this. There are a series of hearings that are expected to start soon. You have Representative Blackman saying, if we find anything that's negligent, we will point that out. If we find anything criminal, we're going to refer those criminal acts to the Department of Justice. What does that mean to you, Professor? What can realistically happen here?
What does that mean to me? Unfortunately, as a cynic, it sounds like a lot more administrative go-arounds. It sounds like a lot more administrative red tape. It sounds like we'll hold some hearings and do some digging and find out where the holes in the system are. hopefully on a more optimistic note, I can say I would venture to say that this situation and other children who have experienced the same as Rebecca Baptiste were not lost in vain, that perhaps they serve as the catalyst to reform this system and to improve the system so that other children don't also slip through the cracks and incur the same fate